Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you one of my focus books, and that is Ken Matsuda's colouring book. It's his collection, and we're going to have a little look through and see just how I've been getting on. Bimble and Bumble say cheerio for now. Hope you enjoy the video. So these are all the different media that I've used, and these are some to try, and I'll let you know when I get to the page what we've used on the page. So I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but I do have flipped through on my channel, which is why I'll just do it quickly now. It's more in-depth video, and I also show Ken's reference books, which are really lovely. So it's like this, but here he's showing you how he does his colouring in. And he's sometimes on Instagram. He's on Instagram right now live, and he's painting a really gorgeous chipmunk. But here I am showing you my completed pages that I've done and my work in progress. So this is a colouring I did in June, and a video is being edited at the moment of how I did this, because it's the first time I tried gel sticks as a watercolour. So I used my silky crayons and I put them on a palette and used a water brush, just a standard brush, not an aqua brush. And I thought I'd have a go at being a little bit more artistic to see what the silky gel crayons could do. Pretty limited colours, so I went and got myself some King Arts as well to bulk up the pack, and I explain all of this in the video that's going to be due out shortly. So they don't move as much as the Supertips, so it was quite tricky in places, but it's okay. Here we have the frog, and I followed Zucchini Kitty's colour along for this one, as I was quite new to distress ink. So yes, we've got distress inks on here and Polychromos pencils, and I found it quite tricky because the tooth of the paper didn't take that many layers once I'd pushed down the ink, and I guess I just couldn't get very many layers, so it didn't come out as contrasty as I was hoping, but it was a great start. But it's well worth following Zucchini Kitty's colour along. Yeah, so it's a good start. Here we have a whip from this month. It just shows you the progress that I'm making and the process. So that's about 1 or 2 layers, and I haven't done this section yet, so I need to go in with that. And then this section I shall be going in a lot deeper with my Supertips. This is a video you can see on my channel. I showed me using the Derwent Inktense pans, and I've also used Supertips? No, Supras, Caran d'Ache Supras, and the Derwent Inktense. That was a lot of fun. So there's a video for that one. This is a froggy with Supertips. I've really got into the Crayola Supertips, and I like the way you can get such light variation and dark depth and tone contrast. No backgrounds in these. This one came out, I was surprised at this alligator one, it came out super strong. You wouldn't believe how pale this was when I first started out, and I thought, yeah, I'm nearly done. But no, I just kept going and going and going. So that was last month, I think. So that might already be on my completed pages from last month. I'm not sure. I'd have to check on that one. This little turtle was Polychromos and possibly Faber-Castell Albert Dürer. And I went in with a little bit more Supertip to deepen underneath his shell. And this little one, the squirrel, just a few light layers of some distressed watercolor pencils. So it's these, put onto a palette with a normal paintbrush. So it's nice and pale. And I just left it nice and loose and light. And I like how the bird came out in that one. This was last June 2023. And I used a mix of different watercolours. So we have the Faber-Castell Gold Faber Aquas. I may have some Albert Dürers and a little bit of Neos and some Polychromos pencils. And there are some videos of me colouring in real time on my channel, this page. So that was a nice one to enjoy when it was a hot day. This is this month's. Foxy is Supertips. And every time I've seen this online, I'm thinking, what is that? Which way up is it? I wasn't sure, and I had to really study the reference picture to see. This is the only sad one in the book. I think people get confused by Ken's images, but this one definitely is symbiosis with the plants. He's becoming the plants in this one. The others are just more like how they live with the plants. So yeah, it's slightly sad, this one. But I do like how it turned out. The rabbit page, the Supertips again. That was this Easter. And the hippo was the first time I used the Crayola Supertips, and I was like really blown away with how you could get these lovely watery effects like watercolor. And I didn't have all the colors at that time. I only had the pale pastel tones, and then I decided to bulk it up with the Ohuhu water-based markers, which is why it's kind of exaggerated. But I do like the water, what the pens can do. That's when I fell in love with the Crayolas. It's like, yeah, this book likes them. And the cat is also Supertips. It's just so vibrant, and you can just play around with the colour and it doesn't matter, it's art. Yeah, I like how that one turned out. This one was, I think, the Distress ink. No, Distress crayons again. So they have a slightly softer, muted tone, and yeah, probably not as bright as I was hoping it was going to come out, but they are much softer, which is fine. Sometimes you need the soft with the loud, don't you? So it's a nice contrast. So it's a cute koala. This is a current for this month of July 2024. It's the Crayola Supertips. I just like colours. And I'm using Ken's reference image again. And this one is with these distress pencils again for the whale. I just like how it has the pastel-y effect. Yeah, I do like the colours in the distress range. So that worked really well for that page. I mean, you could go back in and do several layers. This is another one I started in July. I just like the watercolor effect again with the Supertips. They blend really nicely. You can get anything from the pastel through to the deeps. I just wish they'd have a little bit more muted tones in the set. I mean, there's over 100 colours and it's like, okay, it's fun for a while, but now I want a little bit more muted for these nature scenes. I think it's coming along, that one. I try when it's something not quite, you know, pretty or beautiful. I just sort of like zoom in on a spot and just think, yeah, I'm just colouring this tiny little zone. I'm not thinking about, say, the snail as a whole. So if something's off-putting like a snake, I would just try and put that out of my mind, or a spider, and just zooming on a little bit at a time and just try not to think about it too much. This was a buddycolor with Lavella, and I followed the reference picture, and I wish I hadn't. And then the Polychromos didn't really do what I wanted. I couldn't get much depth out of it. So yeah, this is not one of my favourites in the book, but Lavella did a great job on hers. I absolutely loved doing the crab, so I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But this one, the bee, was Polychromos pencils. Yeah, it looks like it. And it seems like I've used some sort of pastel on the wing, so probably some brute fern and macaron. But yeah, I wasn't happy with the depth again. This paper is gorgeous, but it doesn't take too many layers. Once you pass that first or second layer, it doesn't seem to like too many of the polys going down on it. And I don't press that hard. So it was okay, but it didn't turn out how I wanted. But this crab, I spent forever doing this crab. All these little bits I was going around. Do I erase them? Do I go around them? But it was a really fun page, and I absolutely loved doing the clownfish. So that was probably a couple of years ago I did that one. It's one of the early ones I did in this book. And this crab was Supercolor, so Caran d'Ache Supercolor watercolor pencils. Just love the colours in that range, and the bubbles came out nicely. I did go over it loads and loads and loads of times, so it's worth it. The turtle was probably Albert Dürer's, so Faber-Castell Albert Dürer watercolor pencils and some Polychromos pencils. Had fun copying that, but yes, very time consuming. And if you're using the grid method, I mean, I don't physically draw a grid or anything when I mention grid method. It's just I zone in on a little bit on the image and then just copy it across. And I tend to pick out all the yellows first, and I go and do all the greens, all the blues. I really like it when I get my greens in. I feel sort of very grounded when I put green on a page for some reason. It's very calming. And the cute little sparrow looks like he's got watercolor from possibly, yeah, Supertips again, and maybe even some Inktense pans on there, and the berries. Oh, definitely looks watercolory. It's probably got even some distress pencil on there, watercolor. Yeah, he was a fun one to do. But I take several days over it, several sittings. I've never done one of these in a day. This was the most exciting one because it was the first time I tried the Albert Dürer watercolour pencils in here and realised the paper could handle it. It does feel like hot press because it's smooth. I think that's right. So yeah, very exciting. So that's why I ended up doing most of the things in here watercolour in the end after starting out with pencil. Looks like I have gone over again with pencil afterwards, but yeah, base colour, watercolour, nice hummingbird. Seen a lot of really lovely examples out there coloured. This is a current whip from June, so I started it last month. This I decided to do in Caran d'Ache Neo Coloured 2s. I'd seen Feth Pimart do this in her Neo 2 style, and wow, I was blown away because she'd spent so much time on it. And yeah, I said to her, just keep going, and she kept going, and it turned out great. And I thought, yeah, I must get around to it one day, so I've started it. It is a lot of work. I'm putting mine onto a board and then using a paintbrush with water, not an aqua brush. It's just so you can get a little bit more control. But this one I've been a little bit more free with it, with using a larger brush. I'm trying to be bold and brave and just going for it. So that's my whip. Then this is a buddycolor, and that was with Feth a couple of years ago. And yeah, both had fun doing that page, and mine was with Polychromos pencils. So you'd have to check out Feth Pimart's for hers. And this one turned out as like, when is this going to get some colour into it? Because it was really pale to begin with. So I used a lot of water, and I was painting it far away because there's a video of me painting this, and it's quite far away when I'm having to film for you guys. So it's quite difficult for me to see. My eyes are not what they were. And it just wasn't going anywhere, and then suddenly off screen I put more and more layers on and just got the depth, and that's the Supertips again. Yay for the Crayolas. I like the contrast on that one, but you should see Ken's, his stunning artwork. Okay, we have some more Polychromos and Faber-Castell Albert Dürers. It's quite a pale image in the reference, and I just decided to just keep going at it, and then maybe I've put some Brufen on there as well, the macarons in some places. But yeah, it was taking a while to get this one done. We got there in the end. And finally we have the cute duckies and the frog going, I'm here but I'm hiding. And then there's this little ducky around the side there, and he's hiding as well. And they're Supertips because you get this lovely depth, vibrant. So that's pretty much it. That's all of my pages in this book, and these are the reference images. You can click on these using the QR code on your phone. And if you're on Instagram, not everyone is, but you can see all of the reference images on Instagram just to give you some help and inspiration, or you can do it however you like. So I'm pretty pleased with the progress in this book, and I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be continuing in this. I may not finish it all. But that's the progress so far. But it's been fun trip learning with new supplies and what works in the book. And it's just about having a go, really, isn't it? It's just being confident, brave. Doesn't really matter. Art is what it is. You like it or you don't like it. It doesn't matter. It's just a fun way to spend some time. And I hope you enjoyed that little look through my book. And if you got to the end of that, thank you very much for hanging around and hanging out with me while I show you my progress in this book. It's one of my favourites. And have a great day and happy colouring.